Hi, I'm Michael. Welcome to Tamenuri studio. It was quite a long break between after last video. I moved. I was on a very short vacation. I went to Rome where I bought this incredible ink in new ink from Scribble, and I wanted to show you the bottle. It won't be a topic of today's video, but I wanted to show you the bottle. The bottle is huge and it's stackable, so you can put one over another, but also behind one. So this curve here matches this curve here. And I didn't test it yet because I came back yesterday, and I will swatch it and fill one of the pens with it. But I just wanted to show you my haul from Rome. Okay, today I wanted to show you Ishime kanshitsu. So the technique I have never showed you before, and there were a lot of questions about it. And today I will apply kanshitsu fan on the pen, which is already prepared, and talk a little bit about Ishime kanshitsu. I will put it on this pen here, and it's an Averanga. It was completely different design before, but I messed it up and I sanded it down, and I'm redoing it in Ishime kanshitsu. It's already prepared with base layer of red urushi and sanded. And also I have prepared some red urushi mixed with kijiro here and Ishime kanshitsu. Before I start, I will tell you some things about Ishime kanshitsu fan. Kanshitsu fan is a powder made of urushi. You apply urushi on a flat surface, like a glass surface, several layers of it, quite thick. Then peel it off this object, this glass surface, and grind it. After grinding it, you separate it into different fractions, so making sure that the size of the granules in each fraction is more or less the same. Usually I use the fraction which is like number 48, but this time I'm going to use a 100 Vermilion kanshitsu fan. 100 is finer than 48. Vermilion is usually red, but when you grind it, it becomes lighter in color, and well, the color of vermilion it depends on the quality, on the type of pigment used. So it can be anything from dark red, burgundy red, to orange. So this one is more orange, but I will use the red underlayer, so it will become more red. And after it cures, I will apply Nuri. So some gold particles and semi-transparent yellowish urushi. Okay, I have prepared a container for this, and we'll come back to this later. First, I will prepare the urushi for this procedure. I am using exactly the same urushi I used for base layer, but I added some kijiro, and it's already filtered, and there is no need to worry about unevenness of the surface because we are adding unevenness with kanshitsu. I will mix it. Urushi tends to separate the pigments in urushi separate from urushi oil, and you have to mix it once it's stored for a longer time. Okay, but as I said, I do not have to worry about small impurities because we will be adding much more impurities. So the hardened urushi powder on top of it. Okay, it's more or less prepared, and let's apply it on the pen. I'm using just a simple Western style brush because the surface quality is not critical in this case. Kanshitsu fan can be made in many different colors, but most of makers make just like 5 colors maximum, maybe 6, the most usual ones, because the final look of Ishime kanshitsu depends on many factors. It depends on the color of kanshitsu fan used. It depends on base layer color, and it depends on additives. So if I add after kanshitsu fan, I will add some gold or silver or any other metal. It will change the appearance of final layer, and it depends very strongly on overlaying color and on sanding. So you can apply kanshitsu fan and then apply just one layer of urushi and leave it like that. It will be the structure, the texture will be very pronounced, but you can also apply this layer of urushi on kanshitsu fan, then sand it, then leave it like that, or apply uvazuri, or apply another layer of urushi, or you can apply several layers of urushi after kanshitsu fan. So each approach will produce very different results. Another interesting idea is to use kanshitsu fan in a contrasting color to the urushi you're going to use for the surface. And when sanding, you will get some color pattern, very subtle one. I use this technique on green, teal pen, which you can see on Jangin Scribbles Instagram. She made beautiful pictures of this pen. Making Ishime kanshitsu, you have to remember that it adds quite a lot of thickness to the pen, because usually layers of urushi are very thin, and even like 15 layers, some up to less than 0.5 millimeter of thickness. And in case of kanshitsu, it will be much more. So you have to measure everything to make sure that the section will fit inside the barrel of the pen after urushi is applied, after kanshitsu is applied. So if the tolerances inside the cup are too small, you are going to have a problem. Okay, I will check if those impurities are not too big. And the layer of urushi is not too thick also, because we do not want the kanshitsu fun to sink into urushi. We just want it to stick to the surface. Okay. And another warning, kanshitsu fun can be messy. So it's a fine powder, it tends to go everywhere, so just remember it can be messy. Now, before I start this procedure, I will degrease my fingers, because I will use my fingers to apply this, and I do not want it to transfer any oils or stick to my fingers too much. It would complicate the procedure. Okay, let's do this. So I could use a special tube for this, but it's not necessary because this kanshitsu fun is graded and it's very uniform, and I wanted to cover the pen quite dense. On the other hand, this sprinkling tube would be slightly more convenient in this case, so maybe I will show next time how to use it. But you have to use the proper grade, proper type of this tube for this job. So when you are using 100 grit powder, you have to use proper sprinkling tube for this. Most sprinkling tubes are used for gold, silver and other metal particles, but for kanshitsu fun they are special made with much bigger grit mesh at the end. As you can see, I apply it not very sparingly, and I let it stick to every surface, but after this I will clean the Vermilion threads to make sure nothing unexpected happens there. Once it cures, and it can cure much longer than typical urushi layer. So if this type of urushi would cure normally for 24 hours, I am going to leave it in furo for at least 48 hours to make sure it's fully cured. And then I will dust off the surface of the pan with the brush to clean it off kanshitsu font particles which are not properly sticked to the surface, glued to the surface of urushi. And then apply the final layer. When you're sprinkling the surface of the pan with kanshitsu font, you can notice that sometimes, especially with very fine kanshitsu font, like this one here, I've seen just one finer grit from this one. It was 250, so it's like a dust. It's more or less the same grit as some gold powders. You have to look for the areas where initially they look okay and they look like matte and that they're colored with kanshitsu font properly. But after several seconds, you can see that it becomes a little bit shiny again. It means that the layer of urushi was too thick in this area, and the kanshitsu font sinked in urushi, was infused with urushi, and you need to reapply in this specific area some more kanshitsu font to make sure the pattern, the texture will be uniform on finished layer. Okay, I will check the parts. And finished. Almost. Kanshitsu font is quite expensive, and even if you buy it in a very small packets like 25 grams, it means that someone has used 25 grams of urushi, infused it with proper pigment, layered it on glass, then collected it from glass, and then grind it and fractioned to several different grits of kanshitsu font. So it justifies the price of this powder, and it's not too low. It's like, I don't remember exactly, but it's around 3,000 to 4,000 yen for such a packet. But it should last like several years. In my case, I could make at least 20, maybe 30 pens with it, so it makes sense from my point of view. Okay, that's it for today. I was using some different colors of kanshitsu font before, but I have never showed you as far as I remember. This one is yellow, and I have also blue, black, and two types of red in this more thicker grid, lower grid. And I will probably show you some more complicated technique with kanshitsu fun, and it will be using two colors of the same on the same pen, two different colors of powders, but in some design. Okay, that's it for today. I hope I will get back to rhythm with new videos. I hope you enjoyed it and this information was useful, and see you next time. Bye.